Hello everyone, welcome to I talk about Peaknaya and make a chicken salad sandwich. I recently really enjoyed the lore of Genshin Impact. So I'm going to talk about Peaknaya and my theory, mostly about PAIMON, while I make a chicken salad sandwich. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna say the story first. We're at the end. We say goodbye to all our friends in Nod Cry. We go to the point. Then Paimon's like, "Dang, I'm really cold," and we're like, "Oh no, Paimon!" And then the storm gets really bad, and we get separated from Paimon. And then we meet this ahbeh, the goggles. And then we find Paimon again, and we're like, "Oh yay, Paimon, you're okay, you're just sleeping." And then for some reason we see the jester. You know, Piero? And then he just nonchalantly walks off. Like, okay, bro, don't need to aura farm on me like that. But basically, then we go and we go to this town and everyone's like, "We're freezing. No, we can't help you find a cabin or a doctor or anything like that." And then Alyosha's like, "Hey, random person, want to sleep in this house I have?" And we're like, sure. And then for some reason we help him discover the crystal teen, which is this fire rock stuff. And we go, "Oh yeah, we saved this town," and he's like, "Yeah, this is definitely gonna help with the crystal crisis." I don't know how that would help, but he said so. And then we go to Snezhnegrad to get a doctor, and Paimon's still feeling not that fabulous. And then we get a doctor, and so Paimon has to stay inside when we do stuff. So we're like, well, let's go find more about Project Stuja by talking to Child Tartiglia Ajax. But Child Tartiglia Ajax has responsibilities now, I guess. So Sandrone's like, "You know what? Let's have a tea party. And what's a tea party without spilling some tea?" One of my favorite quotes of the quest, the Archon quest. And we're like, sure. And then we do that, and then they're like, "It's an emergency. This thing happened, and there's these miners." And then we go to save the miners or something, and that's where we meet Odette, and we fight this thing. And then something happens, and then we're back in the city. And then we talk to Sandrone and Tartiglia again, like the next day, and Odette's also there, and they're like, "Whoa!" And then we question them. We're like, "Why aren't you doing anything to help Project Stuja? Normal people are like not doing that fire." And they're like, "Whoa, we're doing our best. That's so rude. We're doing our best. Sure, normal people are freezing to death, but we're doing our best." Whatever, Tartiglia. Sandrone. And then Tortellini, he outs us to Odette, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is the person that killed Rosaline." And Odette's like, "Oh, okay, that's fire." And then we go and we see the theater or something after, and we talk with Alyosha. And at some point, we meet Vodjanitsa, and we join the voting people thing. And then we go and we watch the people fight, and we with Vodjanitsa. And there's this really annoying reporter, and there was Pantalone and Puccinella, and it just felt like watching one of those political debates on TV, kind of, except for there were characters that I liked, kind of, a little bit. Tortellini. Anyway, and then something happens where we're like, "Okay, Tortellini," something about the person who has been threatening people and having them vote against Project Stuja. And he's like, "That's a good idea." And then I'm like, "What about Odette or something?" And then he's like, "That's a good idea. Take my sister to the opera." And then we get stuck in the opera house, and people start dying, and there's this awful storm. and everyone's dead. And then Renova's like, oh yeah, I replaced Alyosha. And we're like, what? That's so crazy! And then everyone dies. And then we wake up, and only me and Mita remember. And then it's super jolly and lovely, or something. And then they're like, oh, Paimon got kidnapped. And we're like, no, Paimon! So we like fight like 30 Fatui guards. And then we're like going with Odette for some reason, because Odette was also there, and for some reason, I don't know, we were going to check on Paimon with Odette. But Odette presses like the fire thing from La Senora to us so we can wake up really soon. And so we do wake up and we sprint to go find Paimon. But then Renova's there, and we're like, oh no, Renova. And Renova's like, I'm gonna take Paimon. And we're like, no, Renova. So we have to fight Renova. And also, Piero uses an electro shield to like protect Paimon or something. And everyone, all the scientists and everyone are asleep because they had a thought. They had a thought. Whenever someone has a big scientific thought, Renova puts the curse of death on them, which makes them dead, but not permanently. It's like you're dead for a little while. And then you wake up and you forget everything that's happened in like the past hour or whatever. And then Piero's like, wow, yeah, I found Paimon like 8 bajillion 500 years ago. Yeah, and I didn't care about her. And we're like, oh, okay. And then he leaks information. We're like, thanks for leaking that information. And he's like, yo, Bet, you're an honored guest here in Sneznaya. And we're like, that's great. And that's the Sneznaya Archon quest thus far. Here's my theory about Renova and also Paimon. Renova seems kind of chill, honestly. Like, when we first met Renova back in Natland, she seemed kind of chill. I mean, she was a little PMO with the being mean, but she was pretty chill. Wait, give me a sec. Yeah, Renova was pretty chill. And she helped with like building the ley line rules in Natland and stuff. So I'm like, why is she being so weird in Sneznaya? Like, and here's the thing. I have 2 theories. One which relates to Paimon, so I'll get to it later. But this first one is that Renova's doing it to protect Sneznaya. To protect the people of Sneznaya. My theory is that, basically, if a nation creates something that becomes a threat to the heavenly principles or Celestia or something, is a big enough threat, they're gonna get a fingernail. They're gonna get one of the heavenly principles' fingernails stuck right down in Sneznaya. And if you're like, wait, what's the fingernail? A celestial nail. That's what I'm talking about. A celestial nail. If there's a big enough thing that happens, there's gonna get a celestial nail right down in Sneznaya. And that's not good, you guys. That's like really not good. So Renova's trying to protect the people, I think. That's first theory. Second theory is about Paimon and Paimon's creation. So we gotta go back to like the beginning or whatever. Basically 500 and then like 500, let's go like 520 something years ago. Like the heavenly principles created Paimon for whatever reason, and then they're like, okay, Asmodee, you're gonna watch this kid. And Asmodee's like, all right, bet. But Asmodee doesn't watch the kid that well, and then the kid gets taken by a Conrian, kind of. And then they're like, oh shit, my bad, what am I gonna do? So they're just kind of nonchalant. And then there's these two Outlanders, like really Outlanders, like from outer space aliens. And she's like, well, if I capture these, maybe I won't get in much trouble for losing the baby. And so that's why she fought us, because she lost a baby. And all the shades are like, oh shit, you lost the baby. That's supposed to be important for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't make up a reason, you guys. So we're gonna try and like not lose the baby and re-get the baby, unlose the baby. And then when the big HP wakes up, they won't be mad. And we won't tell them that we lost the baby. So yeah. And Paimon is like slowly growing for celestial reasons. Like, I don't know, Paimon feels like mentally age 8, physically like age 3. I don't know, you guys. But basically, wait, why? What was my other theory? Oh yeah, like all the shades are like, oh, if we get the baby back, then they won't, then evil mom won't be mad. Evil mom is the heavenly principles, by the way. Those are the two theories, you guys. How are we liking Peaknaya? I feel like when we were in the theater, it reminded me of Peak Umaru. Sum Pikaru. Yeah, I like Sumeru a lot, and it reminded me of Sumeru. I like the characters. I like Vojjanitsa. I like Alosha. I like Odette. I like Mika. I like Mr. Door. Mr. Door! I'm just Mr. Door. And so many of the like NPC models have so much aura. They have so much aura. Like real Tortellini's sister, aura, pure aura. Just aura, okay? Seeing Child Tartaglia Ajax next to everyone, he looks like such a chud. Like everyone else mogs him, even the NPCs mog him. He just looks like a chud, which is really sad because I like him, but he looks like a chud. Oh, I made a Durin themed candle. I don't know if it shows up. I made it his color and I added hearts because I like Durin. He's my favorite character. I hope I get to see Wander in Peaknaya and that he has an interaction with Child Tartaglia Ajax, because I feel like that we're only missing one. Yeah, I like Wander it being in the 0.6 aura era, but I probably won't see him again. Anyway, I think this update was low-key kind of peak. Yay! Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely day. I'm gonna enjoy my chicken sandwich now. Bye.